Hey y'all, welcome back to the channel. Thank you guys so much for watching. Today we're going to talk about yesterday's live stream from SDS that covered Diamond Dynasty and was easily the best one that they've done this year, maybe ever. I mean, I can't remember being as excited for a release as I am for 20. And today I'm going to talk about 20 new cards in MLB The Show 20 that I'm really excited to use, and then throw on a few extras that we didn't necessarily get into fully, but I'm really excited to see as well. So we're going to start with Todd Helton. This is a release that we knew of a couple weeks ago, or maybe like a week or so ago. We knew he was going to be a new legend. I am really excited by Todd Helton. Obviously, he was an absolute beast for Colorado. You see this card here. This is going to be the first one that's available for him. It's got great contact, great vision, solid power, excellent defense and speed. Now, you don't necessarily look for defense and speed at first base, but they certainly don't hurt to have as long as you're not compromising anything with the offense. That's really what it comes down to. Obviously, if you're giving something back on the offense, you might want to go elsewhere, but no, this Todd Helton has it all. And of course, he's one of those prestige diamonds that you can amp up to a 94. And they covered that in the live stream as well. So you can make this card even better. It's going to be a lot of fun to use him. I know first base is very plentiful, but I'm going to try to get Todd Helton pretty early and see just how good he can be. And I know for a fact, first BR draft that I do where Todd Helton comes up, I'm picking him. Next up is Juan Soto, and this is part of a new series that they're doing called Face of the Franchise. These guys are all going to be in the team affinity cards, and each team is going to have a Face of the Franchise for the diamond. So you remember last year they did the team affinity with a gold and a diamond. I think there were some silvers as well. I think it was silver, gold, diamond. But this year they have the prospects for the gold and the Face of the Franchise for the diamond, and then there's stages. They did a great job expanding Team Affinity, and I'm really excited to see how that goes. But we're talking just about specific cards today, not so much about modes and all the new stuff that's coming. Juan Soto is going to start the season as a gold, which I'm okay with, if only because it creates an investment opportunity. We can buy some of his gold cards and hope that he gets diamond early into the season. But if you really are eager to use a diamond version of Soto right off the rip, as I am, you can do the team affinity for Washington and get this beast of a card. Look at that hitting. I mean, it's excellent across the board. The fielding is capable. It's not great, but it's certainly not bumbling out there in the outfield either. Put him in left field, you'll be fine. He's also got a little bit of speed. I think he was 12 for 12 on the bases last year, 12 for 13. He was really, really strong base stealer last year, so not inept as far as speed goes. Next up is another face of the franchise, Byron Buxton, who's excellent at speed. We call him Uncle Byron in my stream. There's a whole meme behind that, twitch.tv/sport. You can come learn more about that. But his live series this year, I don't know if you gave it a shot, but if you didn't, you might have missed out because he absolutely dominated for me and a lot of others. Even though it was very, very mediocre to almost bad hitter ratings for his live series card, but still the great defense and speed. But for some reason, he just hit really well. I'm excited to use a diamond very early into the season. I don't know how quickly I'll be able to finish the team affinity for Minnesota, excuse me, but I'll be giving it a shot once I get either the Washington one first or this next one, which is Blake Snell. Big fan of Blake. He's awesome. He's actually in the Twitch community. You should give him a follow. Obviously, he won't stream as much during the season, but definitely a great guy. And also coming into the season, I believe, as a gold. So if you want that diamond right away, this is a great card to get. Love the per 9s there. Obviously, the hit and K9 are the first things that we look at. And those are 88 and 100. Very strong. 63 BB9 and 52 control. You're going to have to be a little bit more fine with him. But if you're hitting your meter, it should be all right. It shouldn't be a situation where you're walking the yard with him. So I'm really excited to use this Blake Snell. They have an Xavier Edwards, who Snell is inextricably linked to, as well as their prospect cards. So the team affinity for Tampa Bay is pretty interesting right off the top. Next up is Craig Biggio. Now, they had a pack of silver and bronze legends and flashbacks that had a lot of interesting cards, and this is definitely one of them. You guys know, one of the things that I've always liked, and if you've been to my stream, you know that I was always advocating for Biggio as a legend because of one main thing, the fact that he played catcher, second, and center throughout his career. So there's so much card diversity that they can do with him, and they're showing it right off the top here with this rookie card that is a catcher with 90 speed. passable defense, especially on the blocking. 75 blocking is well above average, so he should be fine with the new blocking mechanics. He shouldn't be letting everything go by him. He doesn't have a great arm. Well, he doesn't have great arm accuracy. A 75 arm is actually pretty decent. 68 field, 67 reaction. That's okay. You're not getting premier defense, but it's a silver card for one. You're using it in BR or maybe at the very beginning of the season. The hitting could be sneaky nice, though. I love the 85 vision. Vision can make up for a lot of deficiencies in a player, especially the way the game plays. At least it did in 19 and hopefully does again in 20, where vision is rewarded. So vision and contact in concert can kind of make up for a lack of power. I don't expect to be hitting many homers against lefties, but you might sneak a few out against righties. And if you can hit those gaps, those singles are going to turn into doubles and maybe even triples with that 90 speed. So I'm eager to use this card very early. This Vida Blue, if I'm ranking the cards, I know it's a silver, but if I'm ranking the cards 1 to 20 here in terms of the ones that I'm most excited to use, this one rates pretty high. Vida Blue has been excellent in the past. This year in 19, I didn't use him that much. I think he was kind of a hit and miss guy. Not everyone loved him the way they did a couple years ago, but I don't think he was hated either. It was a card that some people I'd run into here and there, but it was just more of an okay card. A high stamina reliever lefty Vida Blue card, though, is a BR god and, a tournament god. And with custom leagues, and you can have an overall limit on your team, if you start with that 75, you need to have some lower end cards. In fact, this card even exceeds that threshold, but you're going to have a lot of silvers on your team to make sure that you're meeting the threshold. 41 stamina, excellent per nines, disgusting velo and break, 3 pitches ranging from 98 to 82, so you get some good velocity split. I think this is going to be an awesome card. It reminds me a lot of the Chris Sale, which may still be in the game, but even if it's not, this is a more than valid replacement. This Babe Ruth pitcher rookie was also part of this pack, and I'm eager to give him a shot. I don't think I've ever really used a Babe Ruth pitcher card. I think he was part of the Immortals in 18, which I didn't really do. I did a couple and I didn't do the Babe Ruth one, and I don't even know if there is. I think there is still a pitcher Babe Ruth this year, but I haven't used it. So this is almost a new experience for me, and it looks like a pretty solid silver pitcher. Not somebody that you're going to dominate everybody with, but also you could draft him in BR, and we didn't get to see his hitting attributes, and I imagine that there is some capability with the hitting. So if that's the case, you can draft him in BR, select him as your starter or primary reliever coming out, because now you can select pitcher, which was the best part of yesterday's stream, I think. I think that was my favorite part of all the announcements that they had in a stream that was filled with wins left and right. Selecting pitchers, huge. But you can select him. It might even be better to select the Ruth as your reliever. Use your best reliever as your opener in a battle royale game, and then in the second inning go to Babe Ruth so that the pitcher spot comes up and you can use his hitting if it's good, which again I think it should be. I think he hit throughout his career. Obviously when he went to the Yankees and stopped pitching, his hitting became utterly obscene, but I think this would still have some decent hitting attributes, and instead of wasting one of your pinch hitters, you can go with this Ruth card. Next up is Hal Newhouser. As you can see that they're blocking his ratings there, and I couldn't get a clean shot of it, but I still wanted to include him. I'm a Tigers fan, and while obviously I was not around for Hal Newhouser to pitch, I'm very familiar with him. 2-time MVP. He was in this year's game. He was a pretty interesting pitcher for sure. 5 pitches ranging from 98 to 77, so the velocity levels are insane. I love the new look of the Signature Series. I should have known. I should have trusted that the art team was going to come up with something instead of just running back the same Signature Series. But I was like, how are they really going to improve it? I like the way Signature Series looks in 2019. And if they're bringing them back, what are they really going to do? They did it. They figured out a way. I think they made it look even better. I love all of it. I love the color of the team being the little frame around it, the little ribbon there with his name also being the team color. And then as you can see in the back there behind Newhouser is that little silhouette of the Old English D. And they did that with, we saw a Ryan Sandberg. So it has the team logo. I think they did a killer job with it. And because this card is so good, even though they're blocking it a little bit, we can see that his hit and K9 are 102 and 109 respectively, plus a 124 stamina. Pitcher stamina is going to be such a big deal this year with being able to select your pitcher. The stamina is going to run out, and so you're going to have to be smart and judicious when you're doing seasons and Battle Royale and events, of course, about when you select guys. Something like a Newhouser here, say you get him in BR, okay? And you want to use him in that first game, and you use him for the first inning, but then you score 3 runs. So you're like, okay, I'll take him out. I don't need to run him down to the nub. He should have enough stamina for that second game to go, because he's at 124. Now, 124, it's going to be scaled for Battle Royale, but if you only use him for an inning, he should have enough to go in the next game as well. Now, if you do 2 games in a row, then you probably have to rest him for a game. But I love these high stamina guys. That's going to be an asset that we really have to pay more attention to these days, and I think it's going to change the way the game is in all formats. BR is the one I keep focusing on, but even in seasons, you can go with a Newhouser. Say you only throw 5 innings with him, either because his pitcher spot comes up or because you have a lead and you want to put him back. He probably doesn't need as much rest as a standard guy. They didn't say exactly how much. I would imagine it's similar to real life, where if you use them 5, 6, 7 innings, they're going to need the standard 4 days, so 4 games of being in your rotation to regenerate. With Newhouser and guys that have stamina that high, if you're only using them for 4 or 5 innings, maybe you play more of a playoff type like my boy Chase G, then you can then use them again probably 3 games later as opposed to the 4 games. So I'm excited about this Newhouser. Again, being a Tiger was a big part of that, but this card looks excellent. Next up is Corey Kluber, and I love that Luis called these the Academy Award cards. That font that says Cy Young there looks a lot like the Academy Awards font that they use for the Oscars, and these cards are so sick. Again, there were so many wins yesterday that you just start piling them on top of each other. This was another one. These new types of cards with the hardware ones, the Academy Award ones, if we will. This one looks devastating. I mentioned, I think in the 2017 American League Review, NL by the way, coming soon, that I suck with Kluber cards. I always did until this year. Until the Signature Series came out, I actually did well with that card. This is above and beyond the Signature Series, and so I'm really excited to use him. And he's for the XP path, I believe, so it's going to take a few days to get him unless you're a mega grinder. Some of you psychos are going to have him like the second day, and I say psychos lovingly. I respect people who put on their grind and just no life it to get these cards. That's awesome. I play a lot too, so I'm not looking down my nose at y'all at all. What's interesting here is the 97 mile per hour cutter. I'm not quite sure where that comes from. I'm here for it, but I don't know if that's going to hold, if maybe they have to adjust that a little bit, because I don't know that he throws a 97 mile per hour cutter. But if he does, let's go. Let's do it. They might have to flip the 4-seam and cutter velos. It would still be a devastating card. It really wouldn't change my interest in it at all, because what I'm really interested in, if anybody deserved the slurve, it's Corey Kluber. My boy Doug Thorburn worked at Baseball Prospectus, used to do a podcast with him, pitching expert. Used to call, or still does call, his breaking ball the Slydra. And if you're familiar with what a Hydra is, it's a multi-headed creature, so to speak. So he called it the Slydra because it's a slider that has kind of multi-facets. It can cut, slide, or break like a curveball. So giving him a slurve that has that multi-facet of break, depending on how you throw it, was perfect. So it was a long time coming. They finally did it. This card looks insane. Next up is Rollie Fingers. I lost my mind when this one dropped. I love Rollie Fingers cards. Even the Oakland Gold doesn't get a lot of shine, but it is a solid card. If you're still playing 19 for this week, as I will be, and doing BRs or whatnot, throw the Rollie Gold in there and give it a shot. It is a good card. It's not as good as the Finest or the Milwaukee Diamond, but it still works. This one is insane from his Cy Young season. First off, 38 stamina. We love that. Always a sucker for high stamina relievers. The per 9s are just absolutely absurd. Look at that pitcher clutch, that 125 clutch. What that is, if the clutch is low, trouble can brew the second that they get runners in scoring position. When it's high like this, that means you can bring them in a high leverage situation. Say one of your guys, your starter maybe, lets runners on second and third and no outs or 1 out, and you want to bring in Rollie Fingers. Your controller's not going to be buzzing. It's not going to be a problem situation. He's got ice water in his veins. He's got great control. He's got nasty stuff. He doesn't throw 99, but he still throws mid-90s at his best. 93, 94 with popping 95, 96, and then that devastating forkball. You're just going to feast on your opponent with that forkball. I love this card. I cannot wait to get it. Next up is Reggie Jackson. I can't remember, was this XP Path or Bosses? I truly can't remember. I should have taken notes on that. I apologize, but I was focused more on just the cards themselves as opposed to exactly how to get all of them. Of course, locations there, as you can see, will be a new way where you just go into a card and you can find out exactly how to get it. But I might take this card first. Again, if it was the Bosses, then you would just pick one and then you buy the rest. Or if it was XP Path, you get them as you continue on. I know outfield's going to be deep. It is every year, right? There's 3 outfield positions. There's tons to go around. But Reggie Jackson's signature series this year was super expensive because it was a 12-0 card. So I didn't really have the opportunity to play with that Oakland card. And I've never really had the opportunity. I think one of his postseason Yankees ones, 99, a couple years ago, was also a 12-0. So it's always kind of been a tough-to-get card. So the opportunity to have a Reggie Jackson this elite for a long time. Reggie Jackson cards slap. I've used them in BR, so I'm familiar with how good he can be. Granted, it's on All-Star, but as we scale up, I still think with 80 vision and all the great contact and power numbers, he can play on Hall of Fame too, and probably Legend as well. I don't play a ton on Legend because usually if I make World Series, I made it 4 times this year, I don't play a lot into that because I'm not going to get top 50. But this card looks great. And one of the best things about him as a premier slugger is, again, you're not sacrificing everything else. The defense is just okay, but a great arm, capable 68, 67 on the field and reaction. So he's not falling all over himself in one of the corner outfield positions, but the 71 speed is the aspect that I'm really impressed by. And that's something that really intrigues me, is that Reggie is not a base clogger. So you get him on base if you're not hitting yaks with him, get him on first or second, and he's not stopping the progress up when somebody else gets hits behind him. So I'm really excited for this Reggie Jackson. Next up is Minnie Minoso. This card was heavily slept on. Well, not this one specifically, but his signature series was heavily slept on in 19. It was a BR reward as well. I think people don't really know Minnie Minoso, so he wasn't heavily selected. And I didn't get him either. I ended up, with my 12-0s, I just bought who was most expensive, but I never went around to buy this card. One of the plans, originally, I only had 2 12-0s, but was to get the stubs from selling, I think, Chris Sale and Eric Gagne are the 2 I sold, because I bought Gagne a long time ago, and buy Minoso. But I basically stopped playing ranked seasons, so I didn't really need to buy him. But his card was awesome. This one looks great too, this prime version of Minoso. Again, he does everything, and it comes with elite fielding and premium speed as well. Or we'll call it really good fielding. Elite, I guess, would have to be a diamond if you guys want to be technical. But the 87 fielding is great. The arm and reaction are really, really strong, but not quite elite. Plus, look on his card there. He can play third base. So the outfield gets too crowded, boom, move him into the hot corner, and you've got a great player there. Minnie Minoso, look him up. Really fascinating player. I believe he played across 5 decades, or played in 5 decades. He didn't play consistently throughout all 5 decades, but he touched the diamond in 5 different decades, which is really impressive. Next up is Pudge. Didn't use Pudge a lot this year, the signature series. One, we know catching defense was not where it needed to be this year, to the point where somebody like Pudge was not better enough than like a mediocre to poor defender like Robinson Chirinos to make it worth the difference. He was better. Like the people who say that, Pudge and Yachty weren't even better, that's not true. But the gap was small when it should have been colossal. It should have been off the charts, but it was way too small. This year, it's supposed to be much bigger. The blocking has been redone. Everything's supposed to be a lot better with catcher defense. So a premium catcher behind the dish like Pudge or whatever Yachty cards they give us beyond his live series should be a true advantage. This is a quality hitter too. Again, I like the contact vision led cards that have capable power. Plus his speed. So nice. It's the nicest speed that you can possibly get. This is the card that you get after you do the evolution. So you get the silver card, which was a series that I collected. This one was too, by the way. I think it was the 90 that you get, 1990, not 90 rated. It was a silver 1990 version of Pudge. You do the missions, you evolve that into this card. So I'm going to do that with the Pudge. Next up, my first prospect here is Luis Robert. It is Robert. I know it seems like it should be Robert. It's Robert. That's what we're going with until we hear differently. Out of his mouth in an interview a couple years ago, it was Robert. So it's Robert, guys. I'm sorry. Got to be technical Tommy on that and correct y'all. It's Robert. Excellent card, though. It's going to be in the opening day pack for prospects. It's the high tier, so if you don't roll the high tier, you'll have to buy it off the market. But if you buy a pack or two of the prospects, you could get this card for $30K, I believe. I'm eager to see what his price is on the market. I might pull at least one of the prospect packs opening night. Opening night, we get wild with it. I don't always make the best, economic decisions as far as utilizing my stubs on opening night, but we're having fun. We're going a little wild. We're buying more packs than I normally would, so I'll probably splurge and get at least one prospect pack. And if I don't pull Robert, hopefully I pull some of the other guys that I'm going to hype up here in a moment, including this guy might be my number one. If I can get anybody in the pack, if I was ranking them in order, and I wasn't, I was just kind of putting them as the stream showed them, I'd probably put Pearson number one. He is incredible. Look at this card. First off, he's got the 4 standard pitches, velocity ranges 99, 92, 87, 78. You got the 3 levels there. Even 99 to 92 is a real difference, especially when you're talking about a slider at 92. So it really is 4 levels with the velocity. Brilliant hit and strikeout per 9 ratings. 61, 75. Now, the BB9 is a little bit low, but the control makes up for it. So that's going to offset. Again, you shouldn't be having trouble throwing the ball and walking everybody all over the place. Velocity and break, obscene. 86 stamina is a little bit light, so you're probably not going to be going 7-8 innings with him a lot. That's okay. Give me 6 strong, and we're good. One thing I didn't show here, if they scrolled over to Quirks, they showed that he has the outlier 1 metric. Outlier 1 means your premium pitch gets an extra, I think it's 2 to 4 miles an hour. So I think he can go upward of 103 miles an hour off of his fastball, which is legit. Saw him do it in real life at the Arizona Fall League. It was insane. Nate Pearson's one to watch. And if you're a Toronto Blue Jays fan, get excited. You got those great young hitters coming up, but Pearson's on the rise as well. And he'll be up at some point this year for sure. Next up is the Joe Adell. This is one of the 12-0 rewards. I'd love to get a 12-0 early. I'm going to be playing some BR early, especially because the game is completely flipped on its head. The BR mode is different. It's a brand new mode this year. Obviously, it's the same game and everything, but the strategies and the way you're going to build your team, completely different. But this is one of the 12-0 rewards, one of the best prospects in baseball. I think he's a little bit better than Robert if you go here. So Robert, crushes lefties, solid against righties. Adell's a little bit more balanced because he's got that extra power against righties there. So that keeps him pretty balanced there. The defense is still strong, a little bit less speed. So a little bit less defense and speed than Robert, but not to the point where you're going to notice it and be like, well, Adell can't play defense and Robert's excellent. Robert should be a little bit better, but we're talking small differences there. So give me the Joe Adell. Very excited to possibly get him if I can go 12-0 early. It won't be easy, though. A lot of goons out there. Someone didn't turn off their phone before they started recording a YouTube video. That'd be me. Could edit it out if I knew how, but I don't because I don't have an editing program. Sorry. Next up is Juan Pierre. He's one of the first World Series rewards. This was revealed by, I believe, Cougs as a new legend. And he's going to be one of 3 guys that you can get for making World Series in that first ranked season. We know these cards can dominate. If you've used Kenny Lofton, Ichiro, those are the 2 that really jump out to me. Are there any others that are Vizquel? I guess I was never good with Vizquel personally, but he's that same type of card. These guys infuriate your opponents with a lot of cheap hits, and it's not always like late jammed dunker into the opposite field. But it's even little ground balls up the middle and stuff. That's just those paper cuts that you get on your opponents, and they frustrate you when they're against you, but you love them when you're getting them. And so I think this card's gonna be a lot of fun. You can see he's bunting there on the card. If you are somebody who bunts, there you go. I'm not one of those people who says that all bunting is cheese and cries and carries on every time someone bunts against me, and I would encourage you not to be either. If someone's bunting with this card and you were completely surprised by it and you never thought it could happen, I mean, that's kind of on you, right? I mean, someone comes up and bunts with Billy Hamilton, duh, like bring your third baseman. Like, I'm not trying to be a jerk about it, but when bunting was cheesy and a problem, I believe it was 16, when you could bunt with literally anybody. I mean, literally anybody. Poppy Ortiz could bunt, and I'm not just saying bunt against the shift. The mechanics of catcher and pitchers and their urgency were so messed up that bunting was broken. That doesn't mean that all bunting forever is cheese and you shouldn't be able to do it and you send messages to your opponent when they do it. If they're bunting with Juan Pierre, let them. First off, they're likely trying to give you a free out because you can really prevent bunting. But even if they do get a base hit with it, don't lose your head. Just plan for it the next time he comes up. I won't be bunting with Juan Pierre. I'm not a bunter, but I will use this card and I'll hit singles and doubles for days. This is another one of the early rewards for World Series. It's Adley Rutschman, a switch-hitting catcher with this kind of talent and defense. Sign me up, dude. I mean, what more can we really say about this card? It's got everything you could possibly want, even a little bit of speed. So again, a catcher who's not a base clogger is such a nice asset. I spend a bench pick on a backup catcher in Battle Royale so often just because I'm afraid of that sub 15 speed rating of a catcher hemming me up late in a BR game when I desperately need a run, that I'll just use a common pick on a backup catcher. With somebody like Rutschman, 54 is not blazing, but you don't have to worry about that. He can handle himself on the bases. He can get first to third on a base hit and stuff like that. Now, these are not new cards, these next couple here, but it's a new series called Classics. Actually, I don't know if I put more than one. We'll see. It'll be a surprise to me because I forgot the order that I put these in. They come out with a new excellent series called Classics. I love this. We've talked with Luis about this for a while. I remember back in 19 when they brought us out to San Diego. He and I were batting around different series. And I actually brought up, you guys have had some amazing postseason series. What if you brought some of those back? I mean, there's been cards that people have adored. You could bring those back. I think that would really work well. The community would love that. They did it. Classics. By the way, that's not me saying I take full credit for this. Did I put a stamp of approval and say this would be amazing? Yes, but I was part of a chorus who said that. So I want to be clear there that I'm not saying I did this. You're welcome. But this is awesome. And this Mondesi that they brought in is incredible. If you didn't get to use it, you see he was a September Player of the Month. So you might not have used him if you're one of those that goes into one of the fall games, 2K, Madden, something like that, and you kind of trickle off of MLB once the fall hits, you might have missed out on this card. This was a hidden gem back in 18 that absolutely tanked. And because I did so well with this card, it made me try out the Mondesi Live Series, even though he was a silver. He wasn't as good as this card. But just to see, because it was something about his swing that really felt, because even this card, and it's a silver hitter, but he absolutely crushed. And so it led me to trying him out, and he became a mainstay in the community. Everyone loves Mondesi's Live Series Silver this year. So this card coming back in the Classics pack is really, really cool. By the way, the Classics pack is on the XP path, and you can't sell them, so choose wisely. I don't know if he's my number one choice, but I think he might be number two. I think my number one, they didn't show his ratings, so this isn't my number one choice either. He's another Classics. I'll show it on another sheet here in a moment. But Mondesi and then Reyes are probably my 2 and 3 choices. So if they put it on the XP path at multiple times so you can get more than one, I will end up with those guys. This Reyes was part of the Future Stars program back in 17 when they debuted Future Stars. I think he was the second highest reward as you progressed in that program. I didn't do the program. I never got to use this card because it didn't make sense to draft a diamond for Battle Royale. So that was the only way that I really saw him. You couldn't buy it off the market. So I never had this card. First off, can we just talk about how great the card art is? Not just the Future Stars setup itself, but also the throwback Cardinals uniform. Absolutely incredible there. But look at this card. I've been talking repeatedly on these pictures about diversity of pitch speeds and the different velocity levels. From 97 to 78 with stops at 84, at 95, 88, and 84 along the way. Plus he has a sinker. He's got all the pitches that he needs. The only thing he doesn't really... Oh, never mind. I almost said something so dumb. Nope. Not even gonna tell you what I almost said. He has every pitch that you could possibly need. Great card. Should be a lot of fun. I'm eager to use this Reyes. All right, now that was the 20th card. Now you can see here's 10 more that they did not show the ratings for. So I'm just kind of putting these up. These are kind of 10 extras that I'm really looking forward to, including that Pudge I mentioned. It was 1991, not 1990. They've got a Mookie Betts flashback. He's clean shaven. Eric Davis is going to be back in the game. Can't wait. Wait, did I put the Babe Ruth twice? That's embarrassing. I'm an idiot. I did show his ratings, and then I included him on here. So technically, I'm only giving you 29 cards instead of 30. I'm a doofus. John Franco, another lefty. That should be a BR stud. Gary Sheffield, Silver Slugger, and Gary Sheffield pre-order pack. I want both. I don't care. Give me every Gary Sheffield card. Smoltz and Maddox. I'm still, even with the Mickey Mantle release and Mantle being part of the pre-order pack, I'm still deciding between Sheffield's a guarantee and then one of Smoltz or Maddox. Those are going to be my choices for the pre-order pack. And then the one I haven't talked about is my number one classics pick. Every time I talk to Luis and Steven about bringing back cards, I would always mention this postseason Charlie Morton. Stamina of like 88, insane per nines, deep arsenal. Oh, I'm so excited for this card. The second the classics pack comes up, this is exactly who I'm going to choose. I truly cannot wait. I love everything that they showed us yesterday. Can't wait, guys. We are not that far from MLB The Show 20. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know who your favorite card was that they showed in the stream yesterday on the 7th that you're looking forward to playing with.